Did you know dolphins can look inside our bodies? Snakes have thermal imaging, ants can predict earthquakes, and platypus can sense electrical pulses like a shark can. We enjoy the rich colors, sounds and smells of the natural world, but it seems there is a lot we miss out on. The five senses, sight, smell, hearing, taste and touch, have been taken to extremes across the animal kingdom. And some have powers we can only dream of. To accommodate these superpowers, animals have some of the weirdest features and quirks of behavior, revealing to them the world we miss. We live on an incredible planet. The endless colors, smells, sounds, and textures of nature. We lap them up with our key senses. These basic senses are common in the animal kingdom. Some senses, like vision, we are pretty fortunate with and can hold our own among most animals. With others, like our sense of smell, the animals leave us in the dust. But we can only perceive what we can perceive. There is a world beyond our senses we can scarcely imagine. We all know our sense of smell is limited compared to animals, especially our canine companions. Some dogs, like bloodhounds, can pick up scent trails 2 weeks after they were laid and follow them for 100 kilometers or more. But their skills are not unique. Brown bears have a better sense of smell than a bloodhound. They're said to be able to detect food from 30 kilometers away. And polar bears can sniff out seals that are under thick ice. The sensory area to pick up and decipher smells is 100 times bigger in a bear than it is in us.
Oh, I think polar bear is coming.
Many very diverse animals have this extraordinary gift. Birds are visual creatures without a strong sense of smell. But the turkey vulture breaks the mold. The olfactory part of its brain is 4 times bigger than even its close cousin, the black vulture. Soaring on thermals, they pick up the tiniest whiff and can find food 1.5 kilometers away. The silk moth family are even more impressive, though not using their noses. When they are ready to breed, female moths waft pheromones, insect perfume, to lure males. The males have much larger antennae than the females. They look like feathers, but they are scent catchers. It only takes 1 molecule of scent to alert the boys. They can pick up the traces of a potential mate from more than 11 kilometers away. Sharks could be called the bloodhounds of the sea. It's thought a shark can pick out a single drop of blood in 10 billion drops of water and can locate food from hundreds of meters away. But according to science, the best sniffer is something different. Scientists analyzed the genes in a wide variety of animals and found elephants came out on top, with 2,000 genes devoted to their sense of smell. This is twice as many as a bloodhound, and 5 times more than us. They can detect and follow the scent of water from 20 kilometers away, a life-saving skill on the baking plains. With such incredible abilities, it's hardly surprising they have the biggest and weirdest noses going. The colossal pachyderm proboscis does a lot more than detect smells. It can lift many liters of water. Pick up tiny blades of grass. Or tear down trees. It's a tool like a 5th leg and hand all in one. On top of that, it's a trumpet. These many uses are thanks to some 40,000 muscles that powerfully control every move. And of course, it's a tool for breathing. Strangely, after studying the number of scent-related genes in different species, scientists concluded that cows and mice both have many more genes devoted to smelling than bloodhounds. With this way of measuring, elephants came first, followed by rats. The sense of smell in those rodents is so well developed that they can even be trained to sniff out cancer and help to locate undetonated landmines. Rats have another peculiarity among mammals. They have binocular sniffing. An incredible skill so far only recognized in them and moles. They can detect which nostril receives the stronger scent, helping them to more accurately follow the trail. Noses are one of the most prominent features of the face. And their variety is weird. And wonderful. There are some seriously strange noses out there. Like the proboscis monkeys of Borneo. The males have hand-sized honkers to help amplify their calls. Tapirs have mini trunks to detect danger. And help them pull high-growing leaves into their mouths. For many animals, nostrils can help filter out dust, and in a few antelope, the function has been enhanced. Both saiga and dik-dik have big ones. But the large air chambers help to control the temperature of the air they breathe. It's air conditioning. Even more advanced in camels, who use their large noses to absorb moisture from the air before they breathe it out, conserving every tiny drop. Pigs are famous for their sensitive snouts too. And their noses are unique, with a tough cartilage disc at the end that they can angle. It is a built-in shovel for rummaging and digging for food. This, combined with their acute sense of smell, is what makes them such renowned trufflers. The key to this skill isn't just their sense of smell, but sex. Truffles contain a sexy hormone that male pigs secrete in their saliva and that the girls find hard to resist. So if you want to uncover a truffle, get yourself a female pig. Though be careful to grab it before she makes a pig of herself. Our noses are nothing to be sniffed at, but other animals could rightly look down their noses on ours. But as you'll see, our vision is an eye-opener. Most primates have average eyesight, but ours is exceptional. We have 3 types of color-detecting cones in our eyes, giving us a broader spectrum of colors than most other mammals. We are not leaders in the field. Some kinds of shrimp have 15 kinds of cones, rather putting ours to shame. But our vision is better than most. Most mammals use their eyes as part of their arsenal of senses. Only a few, like bats, River dolphins and moles, creatures who live in dark conditions, have tiny eyes and poor vision. Most mammals see a bit of color, but usually have fewer cones than us, so don't see as many colors. It's thought that mammal ancestors were mostly nocturnal, perhaps so they could hide from dinosaurs in the early days. Mammal eyes have sacrificed sharpness and color that are typical of day-active birds and reptiles in favor of eyes that are light-sensitive. Humans are the exception. We are more dependent on vision than any other mammal and have better color perception than most. Our vision isn't perfect. We have 200,000 receptors for every square millimeter of our eyes, which gives us the sharpness and clarity of our vision. Buzzards have 1 million, so we can only imagine the incredible detail they perceive. But even with our quite good vision, we are only perceiving a tiny part of the light spectrum. There are lots of colors we can't see, and a weird and wonderful array of animals that can. Ultraviolet is the part of light that we try to block out with our sunglasses and sun cream to protect our skin. The lenses in our eyes naturally block it out. We can't see it, but many other species can. In fact, science keeps revealing a growing list of animals that can perceive ultraviolet, including bats, a range of marsupials, hedgehogs, even cats and dogs. Whether most see and use this part of the color spectrum is unknown, but there are many species that actively do. Rodents, for example, like rats and mice, can see each other's urine, glowing ultraviolet, helping them to find each other. And birds of prey, like kestrels, can also see mice urine to help them locate their dinner. We love the color of flowers, their dazzling array of hues. But we can only see the spectrum from red to violet. Many flowers absorb or reflect ultraviolet light to create dramatic patterns that are invisible to us. And it's possible they use these specifically to attract animal eyes sensitive to the colors, such as bees. Hummingbirds, too, are sensitive to these floral flags. But the winners are butterflies. They are believed to see a wider range of colors than any other species, with 15 different types of receptors. They use eye-like markings on their wings to look like predators' faces to scare off attackers. And they use color to attract and assess potential mates. The vibrancy of the colors helping them to identify the healthiest possible partner. Unlike our lenses that block UV, most mammals don't. So they see a little more of the spectrum than we do. But to be especially sensitive to it is unusual. Researchers were recently surprised to discover that many marsupials and monotremes, like platypus and echidna, glow under UV. No one is sure why, but it might be an aid to their nocturnal lifestyles, helping them find each other in the dark. Amazingly, reindeer can adapt their color viewing to match the seasons. They shift their vision towards ultraviolet. During the long, dark months of the Arctic winter, the deer can use the extra light rays to help them locate lichens, which faintly reflect the UV light. And both the urine and the bodies of polar bears and wolves might stand out more against the snow to the reindeer's sensitive eyes, helping to keep them safe. Many animals depend on night vision. And rather than color sensing cones we have favored, they have more rods, enhancing any trace of light. The most skilled specialists have inspired road safety design. So-called cat's eyes in the road are bits of glass that reflect back light in the same way cat's eyes do. Many species have eyes that glow in torchlight. Known as eye shine, the glow is because most nocturnal animals have a shiny layer in the back of their eyes, called the tapetum lucidum, which is like a mini mirror. It reflects light back. The retina is the part of the eye that sees the world. The dim light enters the eye and passes through the retina in us. But in nocturnal animals, it is reflected and passes through again, increasing the light the eye has to work with. The enhanced image is like our night vision technology. We and the rest of mammal kind are also restricted by the number of eyes, a pair apiece. Spiders famously have 8 eyes. Their vision isn't as good as ours, but they have broken down the tasks between the different pairs. In jumping spiders, it's the big pair at the front that sees best. They capture the most detail, but the other 3 pairs are more sensitive to movement, spotting predators or prey. And giving the odd-eyed hoppers amazing depth perception. Scallops and clams are on the ball, eye-wise. They can have hundreds of tiny eyes spread along the gap between shells. Their vision is poor. They do see some color, but not much detail. But there are so many eyes that they can pick up the movement of approaching predators just in time to clam up. And dragonflies have 360-degree vision, thanks not to one pair of lenses, but 28,000 pairs of lenses. Eagle eyes enable their lightning-fast reactions and spectacular coordination. And a few more oddballs among eyeballs. Ostriches' eyes are bigger than their brains. They have the biggest eyes of any living land creature. The perceptive peepers, combined with their height, make them expert at spotting approaching danger. And for that reason, antelope and other animals like hanging out near the bird-brained watchtowers. Perhaps the weirdest eyes you could imagine belong to the chameleon. Little pinpricks on the end of highly mobile stalks. They can move each eye independently, enough to make you go cross-eyed just thinking about it. Amazingly, they can enjoy monocular vision from each eye, scanning the environment all around them and interpreting each view separately. But then, when they spot prey, both eyes swing forwards, giving binocular vision for perfect depth perception. We enjoy the visuals of the world. But life's rich soundtrack can be just as exciting. Listening to an orchestra, the air is alive with sound. A rich cascade of notes, but we can only hear a fraction of the world's sounds. Many sounds are above or below our hearing range, and our range gets narrower as we get older. Some animals not only hear, but harness sound in ways that seem fit only for superheroes. We know ultrasound, the very high-pitched sound waves we can fire into our bodies to look inside them. It seems like space-age technology, but animals harnessed this power millions of years ago. Bats are creatures of the night. Their eyes are tiny and weak. There's no point investing in eyes for a life in the dark. Their world is one of acoustics. Most of the sounds bats make are too high-pitched for our ears to pick up. It's only when the sounds are slowed down that they reach a frequency we can hear, allowing us to listen in on their world. As the bats fly, they make their high-pitched squeaks, and their huge sensitive ears listen for the returning echoes of their calls. This helps them map out the landscape and navigate through obstacles. And when the sound hits other animals, like flying insects, it can help them to target their prey. Incredibly, some insects have learned to use their weapon against them. Some crickets emit frequencies that cancel out the bat's sounds. And the wings of moths are stacked with little scales that can absorb sounds, softening the echoes. Dolphins deploy a very similar tactic. In their murky, churning underwater world, vision is not very reliable. They produce high-pitched clicks and whistles, and again harvest the echoes. They can make out the seabed and scan for prey. They can even fire pulses of sound into the silty seafloor to detect hiding creatures. It's believed that just like our medical ultrasound, dolphins can look into each other's bodies. They can check one another's health and even look at unborn babies. They can do the same to us, looking inside our bodies. This one knows the lady has something hidden in her wetsuit. It detected the different density of the camera based purely on the echoes of its clicks. While dolphins and bats have harnessed the power of ultrasound, sound waves too high for our ears to hear, others go to the opposite extreme. Whales, alligators, even giraffes use infrasound. Sounds that are so deep, we can only hear them if we speed them up. The champions of this super sound wave might be elephants again. The very deep sounds can rumble through the earth or through water over very long distances. We can hear some elephant rumbles, but others are too deep. They just vibrate through the earth. Incredibly, they don't just use their ears for long-distance chat. They feel their way. Lying their trunks on the ground and using the rubbery and highly sensitive pads on their feet, they can feel the vibrations of other ellies rumbling as much as 15 kilometers away. From these faint signals, it's believed the big-brained behemoths can triangulate where each other are, check in on who's about, proclaim territories, check out the dating scene, and warn of approaching danger. All without lifting a foot. Like us, elephants enjoy caressing. Touch is another of the weird and wonderful senses we enjoy. This is perhaps the first, most ancient of the senses. Pretty much all organisms have a sense of touch. It helps them to avoid surfaces that are too hot, too cold, or too sharp. They can sense pressure and pain, and so help organisms to avoid danger. It's how spiders know when prey has landed in their webs. They feel the vibrations on the strands of silk with the tiny hairs on their legs. Though nerve cells cover our bodies and all over the bodies of most organisms, detecting pain, temperature, texture and pressure, some animals have senses that are much more finely tuned. Whiskers are an animal's feelers. While all are embedded in nerve endings, some are more sensitive than others. Manatees are covered in coarse hairs, especially round their muzzles. And these can detect changes in water temperature and pressure, helping them to navigate tides and maintain their body temperature. It's thought pressure changes help them to detect objects ahead of them so they can avoid a collision. This super sense is essential underwater, and several species make the most of it. Crocodiles and alligators have thousands of little pores on their snouts that can detect vibration, and these can help guide them to the movements of prey. But the feel fanatics, the champions of touch, are seals. Their whiskers have far more nerve receptors than any other animal. In the murky seas, they use the fan of hairs like a hand to feel their environment. They are so sensitive that they can pick up pressure changes caused by the swishing of a fish's tail nearly 200 meters away, guiding them to their food. Taste is another vital sense. We use it to enjoy our food. But for animals, it can be essential, allowing them to taste when food has gone off. For us, and most other animals, it's all about taste buds on the tongue. We can only taste what we put in our mouths. We have about 10,000 taste buds. But catfish have 175,000, and they are not confined to their mouths. They are all over their bodies. Catfish can literally taste their surroundings, ideal for trying to find food in murky water. For all 5 of these senses, we have a taste of what it's like. But some oddball animals have superpowers we can barely imagine. Infrared is something our thermal imaging cameras can reveal by reading the heat signature of animals. Warm-blooded animals appearing warmer in color against the cool landscape. Incredibly, some snakes can do the same using only holes on their heads. Boas, pit vipers, and pythons, like this Burmese python, have pit organs, the series of holes in their snouts. They read thermal radiation, the waves of heat coming from anything warm. They can use it to sense ground temperature, and so find places to warm up or cool down. And it helps them hunt. Even in complete darkness, they can gather enough information from the pits to build a mental image of the location of their prey and accurately plan their strike. Senses are innate. They need a bit of fine-tuning as species grow. But these amazing gifts are born into us and can lead to the seemingly impossible. One of the most extraordinary occurs when young birds leave the nest. They are born to migrate. Some will travel halfway around the world, but somehow they will do so alone. They do not learn by following their parents. They just seem to know. A super sense deep within will tell them when to fly, how far, and in what direction to get them to a safe place to spend the winter. Scientists have caught and moved birds to different locations, places that they have never been before. And before release, tried many measures, such as keeping them in darkness and using magnets to block the Earth's magnetic field to try and eliminate different cues. But the birds somehow always find their way home. There's evidence that from a young age, birds watch and learn to track the movement of the sun and the stars, building a mental compass. They also remember landmarks, even following roads. And there is good evidence they can build a mental map with their sense of smell. Sniffing the ocean to one side, a forest to the other, and so on. Key features that can help guide them. Birds' ears, eyes, and beaks all have special connections to their brains. And there can be tiny traces of iron in their ears, and magnate, a magnetic rock, in their beaks. These mean birds are born with the ability to read the Earth's magnetic field, its strength growing stronger away from the equator and toward the poles. None of these traits can be solely responsible for navigating such vast journeys. And they can't explain how young birds seem to know on their own to migrate and where to go. Birds clearly have their own built-in GPS system. But how this superpower is used continues to baffle us. The furthest reaches of our super senses are mind-blowing. Many animals also have shocking skills when it comes to sensing electricity. All life gives off faint electrical charges, barely perceptible energy generated by functioning cells. And a few animals are fine-tuned to detect it. Most famously, sharks. Their snouts are covered in pores that contain Lorenzini jelly, perhaps nature's most powerful conductors of electricity. With this power, they can locate the pulsing muscles and potential prey. It can run, but it can't hide. There are other ways to monitor these little charges too. Flowers can have a very slight negative charge. The hairy legs of bumblebees seem to be able to pick this up. As the bees fly, the tiny hairs pick up static, a positive charge, and the polar opposite of the plants, enough to guide them to a flower. Bees also use the Earth's magnetic field, perhaps because of tiny traces of magnetite in their bodies, to navigate. An inbuilt creepy-crawly magnet. Red ants have the skill too, and may even use the electromagnetism to detect earthquakes. They have been seen to batten down the hatches, preparing their mounds way ahead of the quake. One animal seems to combine many of these remarkable traits in one of the weirdest forms of all. The unmistakable profile of a hammerhead shark. Its broad mallet of a head might be useful for pinning down prey like stingrays, but it also aids its senses. It creates a huge surface for electron receptors that can help it navigate by reading the Earth's magnetic field. and it spreads its eyes and nostrils far apart, giving binocular sight and smell. It might have better directional senses than other animals, thanks to being something of an oddball. Super senses and the weird and wonderful animals that have them enrich the planet. But our noise pollution, light pollution, and chemical pollution are dumbing our senses and making it harder for animals to use their skills. Let's encourage change. Before the only place for superpowers is comic strips.